GRTS News with me, Winifred Nicole, but first, our headlines. President Barrow holds talks with the Executive Committee of the College of West Africa Surgeons at the State House. ECOWAS top official in Banjul reassures the government of the sub-regional body's commitment to supporting ongoing developments in the Gambia. Zimbabweans in South Africa plan a return to their home country amid anxiety over their future. And authorities in Lagos rolled an ambitious scheme to train 1 million youths in computer programming before 2019. Well, viewers, those are the headlines. Thanks for joining us once again. In a number of engagements at State House this morning, the President received in audience the Executive Committee of the College of West Africa Surgeons, a delegation of USAID Health Assessment Team, and officials from the Medical Research Council. Mamadou Jallo reports on these engagements.
The Committee of the West African College of Surgeons was at the State House to update the President about their planned meeting in the Gambia, which brings together surgeons and other health specialists for discussions on issues surrounding their profession and health in general. Professor King David Jernayawe is the President and Chairman of the Council of the West African College of Surgeons.
Coming to the Gambia was to enable us to do a number of things. One is to create awareness of our college within the nation, to stimulate young Gambian doctors to take up the issue of postgraduate training, specializing in different fields. And thirdly, to offer to Gambian people one part of our skills. At this conference, not only are we going to be presenting papers and so on, we'll be carrying out the surgical outreach to several location hospitals, about 3 to 5 hospitals within the Gambia, where we do major surgical operations, and we're deploying our colleagues from the West African sub-region, some in Europe and America, who will be here for a week-long surgical expedition.
The USAID Country Health Assessment Team also met the President. Speaking to journalists after their closed-door meeting with the head of state, the U.S. Ambassador, Her Excellency Patricia Alsop, said the team is in the Gambia to meet with stakeholders and visit communities as part of the assessment.
Well, the purpose of this meeting was to introduce the USAID Health Assessment Team. They are here really on a pre-assessment visit to talk to some of the stakeholders, to begin to determine what are the overall needs in the healthcare system. Ultimately, their goal is to do a comprehensive assessment of the system. So what we did this morning was just introduce the team to the President and ask for and ultimately it's so important that we have a healthy population if we're going to be able to achieve the country's development goals.
A delegation from the Medical Research Council also met the President at the State House.
We're here to celebrate the 70th anniversary of the MRC unit, which has contributed so much to our knowledge of what to do about various health problems. And what I was telling the President is that to thank him for all the support of the Gambian people and the government to make the work of the MRC unit possible, but also the evidence was presented by health leaders from all over the world how the MRC unit has also benefited the citizens of this country.
He assured the President that the MRC will continue to work with the government to deepen research and find solutions to the health challenges facing the world. Mamadou Jallo, GRTS News.
The Commission of Inquiry, probing into the financial dealings of former President Jammeh and his associates, Tuesday continued hearing testimonies from witnesses Fatoumata Cham Jammeh witnessed the proceedings and prepared this report. The Commission of Inquiry today recalled Adam Njai, accountant at the office of the former President Yahya Jammeh. Mrs. Njai was to present documents of transactions made from the special security account at the Central Bank of the Gambia. The transaction includes huge sums of money spent on the travels of the former president, his wife, as well as his representatives. The transactions had bypassed certain accounting procedures.
The accounting system allows an interest to be taken in your name and then it's retired after you've made the expenditure. So why was that not done? Why do you think this was not done, but rather you were given a check to go and withdraw and then make payments?
This is different from impress. It's different from an impress. This is a payment from the security account. It's different from the IFMIS system. It's not paid through the IFMIS system.
So this is outside IFMIS?
This is outside IFMIS. It's not paid through the IFMIS system. It's outside IFMIS.
But this is a government account, so it should go through.
I don't know.
The former Permanent Secretary, Office of the former President, Usman Rambo Jatta, and the former Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Defense, Yusuf Adiba, also appeared before the Janneh Commission. Jatta was quizzed on the issue of 3 fishing boats he was given. Jatta explains that 2 of the 3 fishing boats weren't generating enough revenue, whilst the other one was offshore.
You were requested to write a report on the boats received from
Commodore
Senghor.
Yes.
Do you have something to write on boats received from General
Yes,
Bank?
I can do that if you want to, yes.
That would, okay, so you only limited your report to what you were asked?
Yes, but those were the boats I signed for.
Okay. The ones from General Bank you didn't sign for?
No.
No ownership, no management?
No.
Thank you.
Mr. Diba was on the other hand summoned to explain the genesis of the building and purchase of 6 outboard motor engines and nets. He explained that the former president wished to establish a fishing unit within the Navy. Also recalled that the commission was Sheriff Sawane of Competence Company Limited. He was to present documents relating to contracts awarded to his company by the former president. Sittings of the commission continues tomorrow. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Fatoumata Cham Jammeh. The National Assembly, in partnership with UNICEF, have begun a 3-day pre-budget analysis training in Bakau. As Modu Bajan reports, the maiden budgetary training is meant to help lawmakers in the execution of their functions.
The 3-day pre-budget training seeks to equip parliamentarians with knowledge and skills, particularly regarding their crucial role in scrutinizing budgetary documents, describing the role of lawmakers as key in government's budget scrutiny. The Speaker of the National Assembly, Mariam Jack Denton, as well as Deputy Clerk Mamoudi Sise, expanded on the engagement.
Now, our role as legislators is to give this budget, that is the 2018 draft estimates, a seal of approval. This is therefore a great window of opportunity for all of us to harness the required skills and techniques to interrogate and scrutinize the budget from the perspective of the poor, particularly women and children, as well as ensure that it is in line with the wider development objectives of the government.
Our role is key in this pre-budget analysis workshop, and finally towards the approval of this important document. I always said to my colleagues that this is the lifeblood of the Gambian economy. If we got it right, it's right throughout the 2018. If we got it wrong, we have problems.
Given the country's new political dispensation with high development expectations, development consultant Omar Usman Job equally enjoined National Assembly members to utilize budgetary skills acquired during the training.
The budget is an instrument for providing public services and for ensuring that a conducive environment is created for state and non-state actors to thrive and to contribute towards socio-economic transformation and development. Now here we are in what we call the new Gambia, and citizens' expectations are very high at this time. The issue we have at hand is therefore to critically examine the budget estimates of revenue and expenditure to see to what extent sectoral allocations can contribute to solving development problems.
Representing the UNICEF Acting Country Representative, Sabna Zairi underscored the possibility of collaboratively enhancing the social status of Gambians through sound policies and programs.
UNICEF acknowledges with high regards the work that the government of the Gambia has carried out. Despite these efforts, there are still a few indicators that remains a cause for concern. Infant and maternal mortality rates are 34 and 433 per 100,000 respectively. The prevalence of FGMC is still 75%. The literacy rate is only 48%. With the right government legislation and policies, together we can improve these targets to meet the sustainable development goals and make Gambia child poverty free.
With this maiden pre-budget analysis training, it is highly anticipated that parliamentarians will be better poised to duly examine the country's budget in line with her socio-economic development needs. Modu Bajan, GRTS.
The ECOWAS resident representative to the Gambia has reassured the government of the sub-regional body's commitment to peace, stability and democracy in the Gambia. Ambassador Vaba Kazagu Geflo was speaking Tuesday at the launch of the ECOWAS Ambassadors Solidarity Forum in the Gambia. Sini Marena tells us more.
International intervention for a peaceful transfer of power following the political impasse generated by ex-President Yahya Jammeh, who refused to step down after losing election to coalition leader Adama Barrow. ECOWAS has a military force, ECOMIC, supporting peace and stability in the Gambia. At a news conference to announce the formation of an ECOWAS Ambassadors Solidarity Forum in the Gambia that brought together ambassadors and representatives of ECOWAS member states in the Gambia, officials from the sub-regional body said the objective of the forum is to work together for the betterment of ECOWAS and her people and to facilitate the ECOWAS goal of free trade and regional integration. Ambassador Weber Geflo is the ECOWAS permanent mission resident rep in the Gambia. She is hopeful the formation of the ECOWAS Ambassador Solidarity in the Gambia will bring ECOWAS closer to our citizens and cement the already cordial relations between the Gambia and ECOWAS.
ECOWAS is here for the next 1 year, which was since June, and they have continued to maintain the peace, to support the government and the people, and to ensure that there is peace and security in the Gambia. And they have not deviated from that. They intend to continue doing that. But as this body, we just want, because individually we cannot do much. But even the mission here has been supported by the presidents of all of these countries. So it's just making sure that we sit here to come together and see how we can help follow up whatever it is that our presidents have mandated us to do, but not as an individual, but as a group.
The Sierra Leonean ambassador to the Gambia, Suleiman Darami, who chaired the launching, believes ECOWAS and Gambia are great partners, saying the new initiative will avail ECOWAS ambassadors the opportunity to work hand in hand with Gambia to support the transition process.
We want, as ambassadors in this country, to assist ECOWAS in maintaining that goal, in pursuing that ideal, that ECOWAS activities in every ECOWAS country is in the interest of the ECOWAS members, ECOWAS people. This is why we've come together to continue to assist ECOWAS, to assist our respective countries, and above all, to assist the Gambia in pursuing that goal.
Olusegun Obi is the Nigeria's chief diplomat to the Gambia.
Once you have a level playing field, investment comes in, business activities improves, economic activities improve. Who benefits the most? The host country. So that's why we said at the end of the day that ECOWAS is moving from government to government and people to people.
After more than 22 years as president, Yahya Jammeh fled the country into exile in late January after refusing to accept defeat in the presidential election in December 2016 against Adama Barrow. He finally agreed to step down and leave the country when ECOWAS threatened him with military intervention via a final Guinean-Mauritanian mediation effort. President Adama Barrow has shown his willingness to break the cycle of repression and human rights violations of the regime and his predecessor, who currently lives in exile in Equatorial Guinea. Reporting for GRTS News, I am Seni M.K. Marena.
The Ministry of Finance and Economic Affairs is hereby informing the general public that domestic pump prices of petrol, ego, diesel and kerosene will now sell at $49.27 dalasi, $48.62 dalasi, and $43.53 dalasi respectively, with effect from Friday, 1st December 2017. A media release from the Ministry of Finance urged oil marketing to adhere to the above-mentioned prices. The ministry, the release went on, will continue to monitor developments in the global oil market and make appropriate adjustments as and when necessary. The Ministry of the Environment Tuesday launched the Rural Community Adaptation to Climate Change. According to our reporter, the project is funded by the Islamic Development Bank and implemented by the International Food Policy Research Institute. Sisi Sawane tells us more.
Technical assistance grant agreement was signed by the Ministry of Finance on behalf of the Gambia government in 2016 and the Ministry of the Environment by virtue of being the policy institution responsible for climate change takes a lead in the coordination and implementation of the project. The forum brought together senior government officials, experts on agriculture, regional governors, and district chiefs to validate the project's work plan. The permanent secretary at the Ministry of the Environment, Lamin F. Jawara, said the Gambia is faced with challenges to enhance adaptation.
The greatest challenge the Gambia is facing in terms of prioritizing our adaptation efforts, which may be common to all LDCs, lies in capacity limitations, especially at the policy and decision-making levels, technical level to some extent, local government and community levels. At the policy-making level, efforts are being made to improve the understanding and awareness of climate change issues through the initiation of the process to mainstream climate change into the medium national development plan 2012-2015 and 2018-2021.
Jawara noted that the ministry is aware that dealing with the impacts and threats of climate change requires a significant amount of scientific input to enable them prepare and adequately respond as a country. Timothy S. Thomas from the Research Institute said climate change is an immense challenge to the Gambia and other countries that have a significant agriculture-based economy.
Agriculture is a potential engine of growth for the economy. And yet climate change is a bit like putting dirty petrol in the tank. The engine will not run as well when you don't put in good fuel. And so part of the goal of this project is to develop ideas, plans, strategies that will help shape investments and policies that will help farmers in the future.
Organizers are hopeful that the support will significantly contribute to efforts in mitigating and adapting the impacts of climate change in the Gambia. For GRTS News, I am Sisi Sawane.
The Department of Social Welfare and the World Food Programme have validated the draft report Social Protection in the Gambia. Seydou Kamara has more on that.
The discussion was centered on enhancing social protection for vulnerable people by improving the socio-economic well-being of the less privileged in society.
This is a multi-sectoral study, so it needs to be looked at by all the actors who have within this study some implications for action, because it's about instituting some measures, in terms of additional generation of revenues to finance the social protection programs. So this requires, I guess, actions from the Ministry of Finance. And then we're also talking about 4 main programs which touch across different sectors. We're talking about school meals program. We're talking about a maternal child health program which touches across health sector. We're also talking about a pension scheme and a youth employment scheme.
The Director of Policy Analysis Office of the President, Faba Jammeh, renewed the government's commitment to improve every Gambian's well-being.
We are looking at how do we get resources to fund these 4 areas. We have started the discussion, the validation processes, and a lot of excitement is coming, and then there are a lot of options also coming, which we want to propose to serve as the basic financing tool for the social protection program in the country.
Isaac Nasir Cham, Program Officer at WFPA, noted that the forum is also meant to study ways to finance social protection through the national budget.
It actually entails looking again at the structure for implementation, which I understand the World Bank is working on. An institutional assessment is currently being undertaken by a team of consultants to look at, what's the mechanism through which, most of these programs are going to be implemented.
The program validated a document to be recognized and supported by the government to show the world the Gambia had taken its rightful position in the area of social protection. Saidu Kamara, GRTS News.
The Rotary Club of Banjul has inducted new members into the work of Rotarians as it renews commitment to saving humanity. Louis Mendy has more.
Rotary Club of Banjul, famous for its position in the promotion of education and health in the Gambia, has on Saturday added 7 new members to its rank. Roy Kadbo was one of them. She explains why she chose to be a Rotarian.
I was grown up in a humanitarian place, the Gambia Red Cross. I was brought up in Red Cross since 1987. I was a volunteer up to today. So with that spirit of humanitarian, I opted to join the Rotary.
If we look at what is happening all over the world, the resources we have, they are not evenly distributed. There's one common thing we all have, and it's always very necessary to give a helping hand, to offer your service to humanity, as God has created us with different gifts of life.
The induction seminar was officiated by Your Highness Oba Moshood Abolade, the president of the club.
I wish to impress upon you that you have been admitted not only to the Rotary Club of Banjul, but to a worldwide association. And by virtue of your membership in this club, you will be welcomed into the fellowship of any Rotary Club in the world.
Inside these files given to the newly inducted Rotarians are the club's bylaws, constitution, and the club's banner. They now have the responsibility to fly high at all times. The district membership and foundation seminar they participated in earned them these certificates. The capacity building was meant to prepare them for the work of a Rotarian. Minyan Job, the assistant district governor, provided the day-long tutorial.
The honor and privilege of Rotary membership carries with its duties and obligations. You will be expected to attend the club's meeting regularly, to perform your shares of club service, to place your knowledge and talents at the disposal of the club in its tasks, and to carry the principle of Rotary into daily life of the community.
Rotarians are often a group of business and professional leaders who dedicate their time and resources to humanity. Louis Mendy, GRTS.
We will be back with the sports news right after this break. Welcome back. Armed Forces, Birkama United and Real de Banjul all registered their first wins of the New Gambia Football Federation Top Division League campaign. MS Jallo reviews the weekend encounters.
Back on the touchline and back to winning ways for the Gambia Armed Forces. Coach Ibu Jara made a winning return with the Armed Forces after serving a 2-match ban with a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Fortune Football Club in Saturday's 3 p.m. game at the Box Barmini Stadium. After a goalless first half, the game sparked into life in the second period. Fortune took the lead in the 59th minute from Alfuseni Jata's close-range finish. His first goal for his new club, scoring on his debut after switching captain for Fortune. Armed Forces responded by leveling the tie midway into the second period. Aliu Doumbouya capitalized on some sloppy defending to put the scores at 1-1 with a neat finish. With the game heading for a draw, Aliu Doumbouya snagged a late winner for the Armed Forces. A cross from the left was diverted in to secure the Khaki Boys a 2-1 win, their first victory of the new campaign.
Last year, we started with a 0-0 draw against Samga. This year, we started with a 1-1 draw against Gambia Ports Authority. So it's a good omen to come back and win the second game like we did last year. So let's see how it goes.
It was a very good game that we played today, and then hard luck comes on our way. But if you can see, the boys really did push well. It was only in the first 20 minutes that we lost the footing in the game. But at the end of the first half, we tried to manage to cope up with the situation and dominate the remaining minutes. So come the second half, we told the boys to push up more. That's when we produced the first goal. So they thought that they were okay, and then conceded two goals, which definitely killed the game for Armed Forces.
Brikama United and Bombada rekindled their rivalry over the weekend in the Sateba derby. It was the 6th league meeting between the crosstown rivals, with Bombada seeking a first win against their neighbors. But the match wasn't completed due to darkness, with Brikama United leading by 2-0. Yaya Ayman put Brikama United in the lead with a fine strike in the 17th minute. A superb pass from the midfield spotted the run of the pacey winger, and the man from Benin calmly slotted the ball past the goalkeeper. Ibu Kante doubled Brikama United's lead in the 39th minute, finishing off a brilliant move to give his side a deserved 2-0 lead. The game was stopped in the 69th minute by central referee Maudo Jallo after it got dark. The fans who were desperate to see the end of the game tried to provide some light with their mobile phones, but could not generate enough light. The actions of the fans could be seen as a protest.
We know it's a derby game, but definitely we work for it, and then we want to win, and then you can see it, and then we are leading, and it's all of, I think, the remaining time we play. We have a difficult game at the moment. We didn't play as expected. Thanking my boys, we need to have patience with them because we have a lot of young players.
The GFF competition rules will now apply.
The game is not playable because of darkness. So we cancelled the game because of darkness. Poor light.
In week 2's other results, Banjul United continued their impressive start to the new season with their second straight win by beating Steel Pico 2-1. Real de Banjul bounced back from their opening day defeat to beat Tallinn United 2-0, whilst Hawks and Marimo threw 1-1. Modest Jallo, GRTS Sports.
And over now to the international scene, where Zimbabweans in South Africa are still celebrating Robert Mugabe's resignation. Many have started already planning their return home. However, they are being advised to be aware of the challenges that lie ahead. Details in the CGTN report.
Former President Robert Mugabe has stepped down, but he leaves behind a shattered economy with 90% of the working population unemployed.
At the core of their economic policy has been unwillingness to reform and to open the economy to the world, to become more globalized, because that would require political sacrifices that nobody was willing to make. So as we stand now, the economy is essentially bankrupt.
Local and foreign investment have dwindled over the years. Zimbabweans wanting to go back say they may have to wait a while, as it will take time before the country is back on track. Policy changes will be key.
Unpicking all of those regulatory changes, re-looking at policies like indigenization maybe and how it has been implemented, will be quite challenging economic issues for Zimbabwe. There remains the challenges on the ground in terms of liquidity in the economy.
But analysts believe the end of the Mugabe ruling will perk investor interest.
There will be some people who might go in there, and certainly China has been very supportive to the Zimbabweans even through the toughest times. So I think you'll see some projects starting to happen. There is already money sort of lining up for Zimbabwe.
Around 3 million Zimbabweans live in South Africa. Many are well educated, assets Zimbabwe will need to rebuild the country.
Zimbabwe has a very huge stock of human capital, trained professionals spread all over the world, and it would be wise and sensible for a government that comes in place to create a platform for all of these resources to be able to come back and help with the process of the construction of the country.
I think it's beneficial for all SADC member countries to have a strong Zimbabwean economy in the region. So there is a definite regional imperative. Zimbabwe also sits in the middle of the north-south corridor, which is a critical route for intra-SADC trade of goods and also the movement of people.
For Zimbabwe and all her people, the real work starts now. Sumitra Nadu, CGTN, Johannesburg, South Africa.
Authorities have launched an initiative to put Lagos at the frontier of technology on the continent. Code Lagos aims to train around 1 million people in computer programming by 2019. It opens to all residents in the city, from primary school children to adults. Batmus reports.
Inside one of the coding centers in Lagos, where residents are taught everything about computer programming. The trainees who fall under the out-of-school category are taught coding ranging from website design to app development.
Right now we are taking them through the basis of coding. We're taking them through Java, Python, and building of web design. And it's actually very good because it's the foundation of coding as a whole.
Among the trainees here is Yawande, a teacher who's hoping that at the end of the 5-week training period, she would be able to develop an application with new ways of teaching.
My expectation at the end of the program is to be able to start my own blogging, to create a blog where I can be able to create a teaching platform where children can go there and learn things on their own without any of the teachers around.
The initiative is the first of its kind in the country and is tied to the plans of the authorities to make Lagos a smart city.
Code Lagos is our response to ensure that Lagos is ready for its future, which is going to be technology driven. We know that for a city of 24 million people and counting, the city must become a smart city. So we must bring technology into our everyday life. You know, the way we run our transport system, our schools, our hospitals, security. So for us, what we've tried to do, the clear mandates we're given by the governor, is to ensure that Lagosians can be part of that new economy.
Coding sessions are not only limited to training centers like this. They're also available online and have been infused into the study curriculum of over 200 schools in the city. Authorities plan to expand the program to cover 1,000 schools by the start of 2018.
Our vision for Code Lagos is big. It's big, it's bold, but it's something that we feel as Lagos we can achieve. We want to train 1 million residents on how to code. That's what we're trying to do. You know, we have to equip the centers. We have to buy computers in centers. We have to contract facilitators that will do the training. We have to, the facilitators that are doing the training are being paid to do the training. So there's a whole economy around the Code Lagos initiative. So that excites us also.
Authorities are planning big for this city, and the Code Lagos initiative is very key to the overall plan of transforming Lagos into a modern mega city. And if the government is able to meet its target of successfully training 1 million residents how to code by 2019, then Lagos would have been on its way to becoming the major driving force in tech revolution in Africa. Deji Badmos, CGTN, Lagos, Nigeria.
And before we take leave of you, a recap of the day's main stories. President Barrow has held talks with the Executive Committee of the College of West Africa Surgeons at the State House. ECOWAS top official in Banjul has reassured government of the sub-regional body's commitment to supporting ongoing developments in the Gambia. Zimbabweans in South Africa are planning a return to their home country amid anxiety over their future. And authorities in Lagos have rolled an ambitious scheme to train 1 million youths in computer programming before 2019. Well, viewers, that was all in this edition of the News at 10. From me, Winifred Nicole, and the entire news team. Thanks for the pleasure of your company, and do have a peaceful night.